Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream. Live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about altcoins, going to move some crypto around for you guys, and as always, I'll do my very best to get to your questions and see if we can't troubleshoot your problems here live. Well, welcome everybody. The Fed has finally done it. They finally lowered rates. This was the first rate cut in since December of 24. So a lot of market people keeping an eye on that. Lower rates are good for risk assets like stocks and Bitcoin and crypto. So we'll see how it pans out. So far, it's kind of been a bit of a nothing burger because the basis point was 0.25 or 25 basis points. And that was widely expected. If it had been a 50 basis point rate decrease, then perhaps we would have seen more of a reaction from the market on that. But they did indicate that they're going to lower another 50 basis points before the end of the year. And we'll see where that leads as well. So we're going to talk about the rate cut and how that affected the market. I'm going to do Q&A tonight, so think of good questions, and I'll see if I can't get them answered. Also, Ledger, the Ledger Dojon, which I thought was Donjon, which was like, you know, Mr. Miyagi's Donjon, but no, Dojon is French for dungeon, so it's where all of their white hat hackers hang out and try to break into wallets all day long. And they announced a exploit on the Tangem card. So there was kind of a little few eyebrows raised, but Tangem is claiming that it's not a practical attack, and they didn't even award Ledger a bug bounty for the discovered exploit. So I'll go into that story, and if you do have a Tangem card, I've got a tip for you to harden up your security, because even if you want to say this is a major exploit, it is easily avoidable by hardening up your your access code. They call it an access code. Other wallets call it a PIN, but Tangem calls it an access code because you can use more than just digits. You can use characters and symbols in your access code. So Ledger's exploit was on a 4-digit PIN up to an 8-digit PIN. And so all you really have to do is update your access code to be more complicated than an 8-digit PIN, and you don't have anything to worry about with this exploit. But anyway, we'll talk about that. I want to greet everyone that's here and thank everybody for being here with me tonight on this beautiful Saturday evening. Gregory Wieland sent me an email about different networks, EVM networks, and fees. So I did kind of want to go over that. I learned that lesson many years ago about you got to have the right token in the wallet if you're on alternate networks to pay for your fees. And it can be a little bit of a tricky situation, but I want to talk about it, just kind of cover that quickly. Hopefully don't let me forget. I'm going to try. Kenny is here. Thanks for being here, Kenny. Thanks for the news. And Simon is here. Thank you for being here, Simon. Mr. Miskey, Roland Kane, belated happy birthday. Although he acknowledged my happy birthday last week. He must have watched the stream after the fact. Oh yeah, he said he was at a sporting events for one of his kids, and I told him I'm all for that. You know, family comes first. Hans Hannah 350 is here. Gregory Whelan, like I mentioned. Bobby, Max Digits Movies is here. Good to have you. E. Poston from Colorado. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. April Mathis. Treb 3. April and Max Digits. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. French Toaster. I don't think I would have forgot that you were here, so you must be here for the first time. North Korea. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. I lived in South Korea for about 3 years of my life over there teaching English. but I never went and visited the DMZ, but I lived in Seoul, not too far from you guys. So welcome, French Toasters. Good to have you here. Let's see. Drew is here. Wayne Tyler is here. HR by Catherine. Fred is here. Wonderful to have you again, Fred. Thanks for the reminder. Smash that like. P. Wizzle, Dean Bishop, Rob Leon. Tangem is a horrible company. Cheap AF, no returns. The ring doesn't work with iPhone, but they don't tell you before you buy. Sketchy company. Well, that's your opinion, although I do know I have a Tangem ring, and it does work with my iPhone. I know that there are certain iPhones, maybe, or phones in general, that don't support Tangem's NFC. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that didn't work out for you with the Tangem ring. Let's see. Positive Planet. Hello, this is Birds, Bees, and Trees, new channel name. Thank you. Good to have you, Positive Planet. Dan the Man Westra is here. Good to have you, Dan. Also, guys, I poked around in my OBS settings, and I am constantly reformatting my hard disk and upgrading my computer and installing Windows Clean and doing all that kind of stuff. And I think somewhere along the way, my OBS settings got back to default. It's kind of weird because I use OBS Streamlabs, and when it's clean and I connect to the account, all of my scenes come in, but I guess not my settings. So one of the crucial settings was hardware acceleration for NVIDIA, and I was doing software acceleration, and my bit rate was too low, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I noticed there was a lag last week, but I was also recording and noticed that there was no lag in my recording. So obviously it was something to do with my streaming settings. So hopefully you guys will get me without any dropped frames, because the audio is fine because that's going through my mic, but the dropped frames is a video thing. So we'll see. Good to have everybody here. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Oh, before we jump right into the news, if you've never been in the stream before, I have all the news stories I'm going to cover linked down here towards the bottom of the description. At the top is stuff we're going to talk about, agenda, things I want to do tonight. I've also put out some videos this week. I just recently did this Bitbox Nova. I felt guilty all week long because they sent me this thing, and I think I didn't get the video posted. It was over a week, so I felt really bad. You're sitting there, man, I got to do that video. Some of these setup videos for me can be kind of tedious, where I'm trying to get things situated, and I have like an hour and 15 minutes of raw video that I have to bring back down to a watchable time frame. I think this one ended up being 23 minutes long. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a pain for me. I edit my videos by myself, and I don't do a bunch of fancy graphics and stuff. Maybe I should have along the way. I don't know. You can pay someone to edit your videos, but that's an investment in and of itself. I think it's like $150 to $300 per video, depending on the service that you're using, and they'll put in all those quick cuts and stuff like that. But I don't trust people to edit my own videos because a lot of times there may be an audio pause where I'm actually showing you on screen what's happening on the device. And if they go through and just edit audio pauses, they might miss some. I know that a lot of my viewers are following me along step by step, and I try not to omit any steps at all when I'm doing a setup video. So I'm like the only person I'll trust to make sure that every step gets shown on screen, along with all of my babbling. So yeah, I did the Bitbox Nova, pretty cool. I think Roland had asked me about this wallet not too long ago. Pretty decent setup video, if I do say so for myself. I don't have an affiliate link for them. I did a video on their Bitbox 2 a while back, But I never got an affiliate link, so I signed up for an affiliate account, but it's still under review. But you're welcome to go buy one of these. Just go to their website. Pretty cool wallet. Has a lot of unique features. So and then I did a interview with Juan Kyo from Descent Wallets. Now the original interview was like an hour long, but we talked about a lot of stuff, so I edited it down to about 22 minutes here. This is mostly focusing on the Descent wallet. If you're a fan of the Descent wallet, you should check out this interview. Very smart guy, very interesting wallet, and a lot of technology goes into that wallet. I had no idea how safe and secure that wallet was concerning the fingerprint. They want to make sure that a hacker wouldn't be able to extract any fingerprint data from the device. So it's a pretty interesting interview. You might want to check that one out. Stablecoins explained. If you were here last week, we went through stablecoins last week. So I just basically edited that down from the live stream and posted that as a standalone. So check out my latest videos. Hardware wallets. You might want to check out my landing page over at Ledger. They're not running any specials right now, but you'll always get $10 worth of Bitcoin rebate if you use my landing page. And when they run their specials, they up these. They're usually, the last sale was like $80 worth of Bitcoin for the Ledger stacks and $70 worth of Bitcoin for the Flex. So keep an eye out for those sales. That's my Descent landing page. The guy I did the interview with, and the Descent biometric wallet. It's a very interesting, very unique, and very easy to use wallet because of that biometric feature. It's pretty cool. And you get a discount if you use my link. Those are down there. Also, Tangem is running a sale on their ring. So you'll notice here, if you're just buying one of their card sets, it's 10% off. But if you're buying the ring, that 15 off ring kicks in, and you get 25% off the ring. And there's my One Key landing page. If you're interested in One Key products, they're great. And all those are down here below. You can check them out. I review lots of different wallets, and I've got affiliate links for all of them. And we're going to talk about wallets a little bit. I've got a news story, and they mentioned something that I keep trying to, bang into my user's head, and it's like there is no best wallet. There is no hey, what's the best wallet? That's like saying, hey, what's the best car to buy? Well, some people might say, I think I said that in a comment, and somebody said Volkswagen. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get that. If you like Volkswagen, but I mean, you've got sedans, you've got sports cars, you've got SUVs, you've got trucks. I mean, come on now. Just saying what's the best vehicle to buy depends on the situation. And the same thing with hardware wallets. It's depends on your price point. It's your level of expertise, your use case, what you need to use it for. There's so many considerations. I get people, even when I did that, this video, people kept coming in going, so does that mean it's better than Ledger? Or does that mean it's better than Tangem? Or which is better, Tangem, Trezor? I'm like, dude, come on, man. That's for you to decide, not me. I'm not here to tell you what wallet to go out and buy. You want to buy a wallet, so you go ask somebody what the best wallet to buy is, and then you can get mad at them when you don't like the wallet because they told you it was the best. So it's like, take some responsibility in your life. This is self-custody. Evaluate the wallets based on your needs and buy the one that's best for you instead of just, hey, just tell me what wallet I need to go out and buy. Anyway, done ranting on that. Let's see. Okay, we're going to do, we got all these links and news stories. I've already gone through all that, and I've wasted 14 minutes already. So let's jump into the news. Fed lowers interest rates, signals more cuts ahead. Good news for the crypto market. Risk assets love low rates. Now, they were basically, there was some controversy recently about the job numbers. The previous administration, they know who they are, were basically misrepresenting the job numbers. And there was a massive adjustment of the job figures, which showed that, the job market was a lot worse off than the previous figures were indicating. So that those figures and adjustments were just ahead of this Fed rate decision. And the Fed tries to balance between the economy, which is usually measured by the job numbers, and inflation. They're trying to do two things. They're trying to manage the economy, keep the economy doing well, and adjust for inflation, right? So, of course, when rates go lower, inflation goes up in general. And so their excuse or their thinking here with this rate cut was the job numbers were pretty bad, so we need to bring rates down a little bit. And we're just basically going to, inflation is going to have to suffer, I guess is what they were going to say. But that was the tightrope they were walking. So yeah, and I was kind of surprised that they indicated that they were going to do 2 more rate cuts or another 50 basis points by the end of the year. They're usually kind of tight-lipped about what they're going to do next. So that was good news. But as I said, the market didn't move much. Bitcoin is a little higher than it was after the rate cut announcement. I think it was around 116, 117, and then it dropped a little below 115,000 after the announcement, and then it popped up a little bit later in that day, and then went down a little bit, and now it's back up again. But we're in this little range here between 117 and 115. But that's not a bad thing, really, when you think about it. For years, people were saying that the 20,000 was the bubble that popped, right? Bitcoin hit 20,000 in 2017. It'll never see it again. The Ponzi scheme is over. Bitcoin is a scam, all that stuff. And here we are quibbling about whether it's, 115,000 or 117,000. But everybody wants another all-time high, which as it stands right now is like 123,000 something. But we're hoping to see that towards the end of the year with these rates. We'll see. So Bitcoin and alts set for Fed jolt. Market isn't ready. Economist. All right, so he's basically saying, hey, the market doesn't realize how big these rate cuts are going to be. Crypto market participants may be underestimating how aggressive the U.S. Federal Reserve will be in shifting its policy direction, according to an economist. Markets are underpricing the likelihood of rapid rate cuts in the coming months on the part of the Federal Reserve, economist Timothy Pearson told Telegraph on Friday. There has never been a gradual reduction in rates like that currently envisioned by the Fed, Peterson said, explaining that he expects the surprise effect to kick in and potentially catch the market offside. Peterson's comments come just days after the Fed implemented its first rate cut of 2025 on September 17th by 25 basis points. The rate cut was widely anticipated, a 96% probability of a quarter-point cut and just a 4% chance of a 50-point reduction. Bitcoin briefly surged to 117. This was, when was this written? 19 hours ago. We're like right at 117 now anyway, right? Well, 116, pardon me. Hours before the Fed rates cut. This is stuff I already told you guys, so you know all that. Let's look at this, right? We got some great adoption news. Things are a-changing, guys. Coinbase CEO sets sights on replacing banks with crypto super app. right? So Coinbase wants to be your one-stop shop for everything financial, right? Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong has outlined plans to build a crypto super app offering credit cards, payments, and Bitcoin rewards to rival traditional banks. Coinbase said his company's most ambitious vision is to replace traditional banks by turning Coinbase into a full-service crypto super app. Yes, we do want to become a super app and provide all types of financial services, Armstrong said. We want to become people's primary financial account, and I think that crypto has a right to do that. Armstrong criticized the current banking system as outdated and inefficient, pointing out high transaction fees as one of the main pain points. It kind of boggles my mind, like, why are we paying 2 or 3% every time we swipe our credit card, he asked. It's just some bits of data flowing over the internet. It should be free or close to it. Good point. So Coinbase is thinking of offering a 4% Bitcoin rewards card. That'll be interesting. So I've got this linked down below. I don't want to dwell on this too much, but looking to become a household thing, right? Kraken taps Trust Wallet to expand back-end X-Stocks tokenized equities. So a stock, or let's just say Apple stock, you can buy that from a broker like TD Ameritrade or, Chase, Morgan Stanley, whatever. And stocks have pretty much been digital for quite some time. I think back in Grandpa's day, you might actually put your hands on a stock certificate, but no longer. Your stock portfolio is usually held by your broker, and even they don't really hold it. But they are regulated and considered, traditional financial investments. But there are a lot of firms that are putting the stocks on the blockchain. So you have a blockchain representation of a certain stock, say Apple stock. So you can buy a token from within your wallet that is pegged to the price of Apple stock. So you can basically trade Apple stocks on the blockchain within your own wallet. So that's what we're talking about here. Kraken said the partnership opens up stocks for 200 million users. Others said that geographical restrictions exist. The crypto exchange Kraken, the main distribution partner for backend's tokenized equity product, X-Stocks, has partnered with Trust Wallet, one of the world's largest self-custody crypto wallets, to extend the reach of tokenized equity to users. In a Friday announcement, Kraken said it is bringing interoperable tokenized equities to over 200 million users across the world by extending X-Stocks to Trust Wallet users, who will be able to trade tokenized equities by Backed, what's the name of the company, a provider of collateralized on-chain assets. So in order to provide these assets, they have to have the underlying asset, I'm assuming, in their treasury, right? Just like Tether, in order to issue Tether, needs to be backed by dollars or treasury bonds or whatever, or Bitcoin. So this company holds, I'm assuming they're holding the stock in order to issue the tokenized version of the stock, right? Can't just be willy-nilly trading stocks based on nothing. That's Wall Street's job. Okay, but that's pretty interesting. And my home state, Michigan, has pushed ahead with a strategic crypto reserve bill. Michigan has taken the next step for its strategic crypto reserve bill, which moved to a second reading on Thursday. The Michigan House Bill 4087, which would allow the state to invest in crypto assets under specific conditions, has moved to a second reading and was referred to the Committee on Government Operations. The legislation amends Michigan's amends the Michigan Management and Budget Act to establish guidelines for a strategic crypto reserve, though it does not mention Bitcoin specifically. It comes amid a recent lull in developments around state-level Bitcoin reserves. The bill was introduced by Republican Representatives Brian Posthumus and Ron Robinson in February and would permit the state treasurer to invest up to 10% of funds from Michigan's counter-cyclical budget and economic stabilization fund in crypto. The bill stipulates that the state must hold the crypto assets through one of 3 approved methods: a secure custody solution, whatever that means, probably a multi-sig wallet, a qualified custodian such as a bank, trust company, or state-regulated company, or exchange-traded products from registered investment companies. So they could invest in ETFs as well. Crypto reserve bill isn't limited to Bitcoin. It could include other cryptos like Ethereum or Solana or whatever. But interesting for the state of Michigan. Go figure. Now, I did want to bring up, I mentioned this story earlier about crypto wallets and what they are to people and what they can do. There's been a lot of controversy, at least on my channel lately, about the sunsetting of the older Ledger Nano S because it's an outdated piece of tech, basically. But a lot of people are complaining, when I bought this thing, I thought it would last forever. Ledger screwed me. I paid a bunch of money, and now they say I can't use this thing anymore. It's like, just get another one. It's not a big deal. If you bought an iPhone in 2016, it probably wouldn't work very well now. I don't know. Everyone seems to understand that technology advances in consumer electronics. No one's using a 10-year-old iPhone, but everyone's complaining about their 10-year-old Ledger Nano S because it's being phased out. Well, crypto wallets are doing a lot more than just storing crypto. And I've said this many times. A crypto wallet should do 2 things. Fundamentally, it should store crypto and allow you to manage crypto. So storing it is great, but just storing it is not enough. You need to be able to have immediate access to your crypto. You need to be able to move it if you need to, either to sell it or buy more or whatever. But people are taking their hardware wallets and throwing them in a safe and thinking that it's just going to last forever, and they don't realize they need to keep this thing updated. And, I get all this pushback and people, I don't need all these fancy new features. Well, it turned out that there was an exploit. The NPM hack showed that some of the safeguards against that hack, and that hack is kind of a nothing burger anyway. Maybe I should talk about that a little bit, but it was just a Java update that had an exploit in it, but I'm sure they fixed it by now. But one of the things that would prevent that is clear signing, which is not supported on the Ledger Nano S, and transaction check, which goes ahead and checks your transaction for any malware or scam sites before you authorize it. So we need these things if we're going to be doing Web 3. And yes, we're going to be doing Web 3. So anyway, this little article here is about what we use our wallets for. Now, I can tell you that my Ledger Stacks, in addition to being touchscreen and much easier to use, can also be used as, you can use it as a 2-factor device. I don't really think it's a great 2-factor device, but it can also be used as a hardware passkey, which is pretty cool. I can connect it. I've on my Coinbase account and in my Kraken account, I've set this device up as a hardware passkey so that if I want to make a withdrawal, I verify on that device using the security key app. So and of course it manages crypto. So Hey, Rex, quick question. Are you on the Central or Eastern time? I didn't get the notification. I'm on Eastern time, but I think if you are subscribed to my channel, it shouldn't really matter what time zone you're in. When I go live, it should give you an alert that I'm live. But YouTube alerts are kind of quirky. I'm subscribed to, I think, hundreds of YouTube channels, but I don't get alerts on all of them. So I think there might be some algorithm within YouTube that prioritizes alerts, and they figure if you haven't watched a channel in a while, they don't give you alerts for them. I've noticed this too, that like if I watch a channel I haven't watched in a while, I'll suddenly start getting more alerts when they post videos, but I don't get like alerts all the time. Anywho, it might just be a YouTube thing, but yeah, I don't think it should matter what time zone you're in. If I go live, it should give you an alert that I've gone live or posted a video or whatever. Now this article is linked down below, of course. The crypto industry has recently made headlines for regulation battles, speculation, or hacks, but behind the noise, wallets, the entry point for most people into the digital asset world, are quietly evolving and transforming what it means to participate in the Web3 economy. This is a crypto podcast. Wallets are shifting from niche crypto tools to mainstream control centers for digital life. That's kind of what I'm talking about. I don't think there is one best wallet, because what each individual or company might want from a wallet is going to vary a huge amount, Holgrave said. Some people might want to prioritize speed, ease of access. At the other end of the spectrum, if I'm a company, I'm looking at huge amounts of crypto for trading. The kind of wallet that I want there is going to be very, very different. That spectrum of needs has fueled rapid evolution. Early barriers like seed phrases and confusing gas fees are starting to fade. Right now, I'm really optimistic because I think the best in-class wallets out there have actually solved those problems, she said. There's just so much more optionality now that allows end users to kind of pick and choose. So one of the more recent innovations, and I'm talking just the last couple of months, are the Ledger recovery key for Ledger, and the one key wallets have had a let's see, I think it's over here. They've had a card backup for a long time now. The one key Lite, which is a way to digitally back up your recovery phrase as opposed to writing down the seed phrase. Now, you should always write down the seed phrase, but these little convenient backups allow you to back up and restore quickly, because restoring from a seed phrase can be tedious and nerve-wracking. This Bitbox Nova has a where'd this thing go? It's right here. Has a SD card slot, and it backs up to the SD card. And so you can back up and restore to the SD card. So yeah, wallets are getting a lot more convenient and functional now than they were. So a lot of stuff going on in the wallet space, not to mention Web3, right? Connecting to Web3 sites to trade, swap, participate in liquidity, do lending, and play games and do all kinds of stuff on the blockchain. So your grandma's wallet isn't gonna cut it anymore. And I know hardware wallets have only been around for like 10 years, but things move fast in the crypto industry. This is cutting edge technology, and Web3 is becoming more and more functional. I think I did a video on the evolution of technology and, the time spans. We had your television set from the 1950s is now like a flat screen stream deck where you can pick and choose whatever you want to watch in full color, full HD, full 4K with a remote, and that took like 70 years. Our cell phones took like 50 years to go from, crappy giant. If you've ever watched movies from the 80s and watched somebody with a cell phone that's like a brick about this big with an antenna, and now we're carrying around iPhones, which are basically computers in our pockets. That took, maybe 40 years. And it just, as newer technology comes out, that time frame is getting shorter. So I don't understand why people in 10 years ago that were on cutting edge and getting into crypto are so mad now that after 10 years, that old wallet that they bought is outdated, and doesn't do, modern stuff that crypto should be doing. I just want to hold Bitcoin. Okay, fine. You just want to hold Bitcoin. But a lot of people want to do more than just that, right? They want to engage in, the blockchain ecosystem using Web3. So you need a modern wallet for that. I've got this linked down below. You might want to check out the podcast too. It might be pretty interesting, where they talk more about what wallets are and what they do, and the new stuff that's hitting us. So you might want to check all that out. A lot of stuff going on in the chat. So BNB has just broken 1,000. Thanks for pointing that out, Dan. BNB is on a tear. I was look at that. Wow. I remember I had a bunch of BNB. It's a little depressing to me because I've been through the ringer. I rode the highs from in 2017 and again in 2020 and 21, only to see my hopes dashed. And I go through a lot of my old wallets, and I look at old tokens that I had and that I don't have anymore that I ended up selling off. And BNB is one of them. I don't remember how much BNB I had at one point. On the order of 20 or 30, which would have been pretty nice if I still had it now. Maybe more, I don't know. But yeah, BNB is on a tear. And I know some people that bought BNB. Well, I think Dan bought BNB like below $10 or whatever. That's cool. Positive Planet. I'm going a lot of research on stocks and dividends. It seems like Ethereum could be ready for run up, but I'm not sure as I've been studying stocks. Still not sure on dividends or growth. Okay. Oh yeah. I did want to. Mr. Gregory Whelan had asked me about. He was telling me about a token that he had. Somehow he has SAND token, SAND, on the Polygon network. It ended up there from somewhere else, he said. But he also has SAND in his Ethereum wallet. So you'll see that there are some tokens that live on multiple chains. But kind of what I wanted to point out was, I think, let's see, let's go back over to this Flex 2. Which I refer to as my crypto graveyard. It had a whole bunch of tokens that, I held at one point and now don't. I remember this Telcoin. I bought this live on my live stream. And if I recall, I spent $500 on it on a whim. Because back then I was just throwing money around and someone brought it up in the live stream and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. And now it's only worth 25. So you got to be careful what you buy on whims these days. So here's what I wanted to show you. Let's say you've got this Tether US dollar in your wallet. It's an ERC20 token. It's on the Ethereum. And if I wanted to transfer that Tether somewhere, I need to have some Ethereum in the wallet. Because Ethereum basically is the juice that makes the wallet go. There are blockchain fees. So unfortunately, they won't just take the blockchain fees out of your ERC20 token. You have to have Ethereum for your gas fees. even if you're dealing with a different token. And that's pretty, people understand that. But let's say you wanted to, like over on the Polygon network. So if you had this wrapped ether or this quick swap, I had a lot of that at one point. You would need the underlying token Polygon. Let me get this big. Sorry, guys. Yeah. You would need to have Polygon in the wallet in order to transfer any of these sub tokens. That's just how wallets work. So for Ethereum, it's Ether, which kind of makes sense, but it is a little confusing because it's an Ethereum wallet and you need Ethereum for fees. And if you're going to use other tokens, then you need that Ethereum will pay your gas fees. Now, on the Polygon network, you don't need Ethereum. You need a Pol or, Polygon token. So I think Gregory was telling me that he had some sand in his Polygon wallet, but apparently he has 0 Pol in there because he can't move it. So in this situation, what you would do is you would basically run over to Coinbase or Kraken and buy some Pol and withdraw to this wallet on the Polygon network. Right now, other chains. Here's an interesting one. Arbitrum. So if you have Arbitrum, like I don't have any US dollar coin in here now on the Arbitrum network. I've moved it out of there, but sometimes I'll get like some payments that come in on the Arbitrum 1 network. Well, you need to have some Ethereum, but notice this is not Ethereum. This is Arbitrum 1 Ethereum. So you're like, well, how do you get that? Well, you go over to Coinbase and you buy some Ethereum, and then you withdraw it on the Arbitrum 1 network, and then it will show up in that wallet as Arbitrum-based Ethereum. So Coinbase is probably your best bet. So let me just quickly, just for the heck of it, let's do the flex. So I'm going to just drop some Ethereum into Coinbase just for the heck of it. Where is it there? Okay, yeah. So we're going to deposit crypto, and we'll say Ethereum. Whoops. All right, and then it's going to be on the Ethereum network. But look at all the networks they support for Ethereum. Now it's incoming, so it doesn't really matter. They're all just going to give me the same address. But let's go over to our ledger. Let's send some of this Ethereum. I'm going to paste in the address. That's the Ethereum address of my Coinbase account. Whoops. How much do I want to send? Let's just send $25 worth of Ethereum. That's going to cost me a penny. All right. Now I need to have the device attached. I'm just going to do a quick one here. And then I want to talk about this Tangem thing going on. So I'm attaching my device. I'm going to enter my PIN. I missed one. I hate when that happens. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. So when I hit continue, it's going to check my device. And it's going to say, hey, you need to open, well, first you need a secure connection. And then now I need to open the Ethereum app. So I do that. And we'll just go ahead and sign off on this transaction. I'll show you what I'm doing over here. Why not? You can't see me. I'm just going to move this camera out of the way. That was my greeting camera. There we go. All right, so we review the transaction. We swipe left. We can see everything that we need. And then we get over here, and then we'll hold the sign. Whoops. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. There it goes. All right, so I was just moving some Ethereum, and then we'll talk about these Tangem cards. Let's see, we'll go back here. All right, so we sent that. That's good. It might take a few minutes to get there. We get too bogged down in this one, but whatever. And I know if I go over to Tangem, I'm going to forget that I was talking about this. That always happens. But anyway, let's do it. Let's go over to the Tangem. Let's see. So Tangem wallets, a brute force vulnerability was revealed by rival Ledger. Okay. So a security flaw allowing hackers to brute force the PIN code of Tangem's cold wallet cards by cutting off their source of power was revealed yesterday by Ledger's white hat hacker team, Donjon. Ledger CTO Charles Guillemet announced on his X account about the exploit. Unfortunately for Tangem, Donjon noted that it can't be patched on already existing Tangem cards. There's a lot of controversy about, some people say I like Tangem because you can't update the firmware. People don't trust firmware updates, which is, in my view, idiocy. I don't mean to badmouth anybody, but crypto hardware wallets should be updatable. But so that's one of the, but a lot of people value the simplicity of, an unupdatable hardware wallet because they think that protects them from malicious firmware. So, okay, I kind of get that, that mindset, right? Even though it's wrong. But yeah, I mean, you cannot update Tangem cards. They're static. So, in order to perform the attack, the Donjon discovered that cutting Tangem card's source of power before it acknowledges a password attempt stops it from registering a failed password. A hacker would then need to determine if they found the right password. Donjon discovered that by analyzing the electromagnetic emissions the card emits with each attempt, they can see a pattern of peaked electromagnetic emissions indicating that the correct combination was found. By doing this, hackers can attempt as many passwords as they like without fear of activating any security protocols. Donjon says it would normally take 5 days to brute force a 4-digit code with Tangem security protections, and roughly, let me do this here so I don't forget this. Yeah. And roughly 148 years to brute force an 8-digit code. However, the tearing attack reduces this time to under 1 hour for a 4-digit code and 460 days for an 8-digit code, as it allows for 2.5 password attempts every second. It estimates that the cost to carry all this out would come to around $5,000, adding that while the setup cost is relatively low, making it accessible to a wider range of attackers, the need for physical proximity to the target card remains a prerequisite, meaning that the attacker would need physical access to the card. They'd have to steal the card from you and have it in their possession to make this happen. Like, a lot of people don't quite understand the difference. They think an exploit means that it can be remotely done. No. This exploit, the attacker must have physical access to the device. Regardless, there's not much that can be done to fix the exploit for the current Tangem cards out there. It's not a patchable fix. As such, Donjon's advice for attackers is to use an 8-character or more password with a mixture of letters, numbers, and symbols. Tangem isn't fazed about card findings. According to Donjon, Tangem wasn't fazed by Donjon's findings and concluded it wasn't a vulnerability. In their opinion, the proposed attack scenario does not pose a significant risk. Because of this, a Donjon representative told Protos that Tangem didn't award them a bounty, despite Donjon following the responsible disclosure process. Indeed, Tangem told Protos that it rewards practical, real-world vulnerabilities and not a theoretical lab attack that is self-defeating by design and requires immense resources. So they disagree, right? According to Tangem, Donjon's method would essentially physically destroy the card's chip long before an access code could be guessed. it said that even if it survived, cracking a 4-digit code would take months and over 64 years if it was 5 digits. The research oddly focused on 4-digit pins, while our cards support much stronger alphanumeric access codes with symbols, making the real-world challenge exponentially harder. For these reasons, the scenario remains purely academic. While the research is technically interesting, it does not represent a practical vulnerability or risk to our users, Tangem concluded. Donjon, however, found Tangem's response to its findings disappointing and called its arguments inaccurate. Donjon claims the cards it tested never died and that the tearing process means there's no writing done to the flash memory to wear it out. It insists that the exploit would speed up the brute force attack by 100 times, especially for weak passwords, which Tangem rejects. Donjon also said it wasn't a sophisticated attack thanks to the low cost and the fact that the security test is required for a basic level certification such as EAL3 grade. And then it talks about Ledger. There was an exploit to a Ledger connection kit, which is software that is not really part of Ledger but is used by Web3 apps. And one of the maintainers of that got phished, and there was an exploit. It got fixed within hours, but people are always, it's just like, you remember that time? And of course, the 2020 Ledger database leak, where it leaked the names and personal information of many of its customers, many meaning approximately 270,000 users had their personal information exposed, which was like their email, I think maybe their address. But Ledger has sold millions and millions of devices, and this was 5 years ago, and people just won't let it go. Of course, I'm not apologizing for Ledger. I'm just trying to put it in perspective because I'm on the front lines about this. But anywho, that's a little beyond the scope of what we're talking about here. But the Ethereum did hit my account now. So let's say, for example, that in this wallet here, we'll get back to this little conversation, that let's look at this Optimism mainnet. No, it wasn't that one. Was it that one? I guess it was. I thought I had found one. Oh, wait. Oh, I know. I think it was over here on the stacks. Yeah. Okay, so look at this wallet. This wallet has some Wallet Connect token in there, but the Ethereum balance is 0. But it's not Ethereum. It's Optimism or OP-based Ethereum, right? And that's a 0 balance. So how could I get some base token? I don't want to make it confusing by saying base token, but the payment token for this type of wallet, right? These are all different wallets. They're all based on my Ledger stacks, and they're all within MetaMask. Most people say MetaMask is a wallet, but technically these are all independent wallets on different chains, right? So in order to move this Wallet Connect token, I would need some Optimism-based Ethereum in this wallet. So let me grab the address, and we'll go over here to Coinbase, and let's say we want to make a withdrawal of Ethereum. They're going to let me do this? Oh, I got to put the address in there. So that was the address from the wallet. Okay, they've sent to this wallet before. They know that. Now, here is where we decide what type of Ethereum we want to withdraw. Notice there, Ethereum can live on all these chains. I don't know that I can live all of these. Or no, it says, there are a lot of, it sees that, okay, all of these use the same address format. So it's thinking, well, maybe you're trying to withdraw Chainlink because you got a little bit in your account. No, I want to withdraw some Ethereum out of my Ethereum balance. Here's where I decide which network I want to withdraw on, right? And so we want to withdraw a little bit on the Optimism network. And let's just say 10, right? So this comes out of my Coinbase Ethereum balance. And it's going to ask me for a two-factor, maybe yes, maybe no. Oh, it just, boom, it's done. All right. So, and now we'll go back to MetaMask. And we're on Ledger Stack. Okay, yeah, it's the same address. Let's just refresh the browser. And there, see? Now I've got some Ethereum in this wallet that is optimism-based that will allow me to move this Wallet Connect token. Now, I believe in Greg's scenario, he's on Polygon, and he has some sand token. We'll just assume that this, like this tether, is his sand token. He needs some Pol, right? So in that case, I would just withdraw Polygon on the Polygon network. Not too difficult. So let's say, whoops, what are we doing here? Where's my Ethereum? All right, so let's say I want to do Ethereum to Pol. I think I can do that. I can't. Okay. Why not? I guess not. Okay. Okay, so Ethereum to dollar or US dollar coin. Is he? Am I on there? Okay. So I have some Ethereum. I want to sell it. Let's just sell part of it. Okay, let's sell half of it. We're going to do market, so it'll happen fast. I know. It cost me 9 cents. All right, so now I've got some US dollar coin in my account. Oh, I've got some US dollar. That's not what I was trying to do. I forgot to come on now. Oh, I hate when this happens. Okay. Yeah, I want to go from US dollar. Is it going to let me do this or not? Ugh, doggone it. Damn it. Let's do this. Maybe it'll let me do this. Come on, Rex. I've done this so many times. I'm trying to sell my dollar for dollar coin. Can I do that? Ugh, doggone it. It's usually, it used to be like just convert. Okay, convert. Cash? Okay, that's what I want to do. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay. Come on, man. They're going to let me do this for free. I guess it doesn't matter because I was going to buy Pol anyway. So let's look at Pol. Okay. Yeah, and I can use US dollar or USDC to make my purchase. We'll just, boom, there. There's my Pol. All right, so now I have some in my account. Here in my portfolio. There it is. All right, so now we can withdraw the Pol. Let's get back here. Manage funds. Withdraw crypto. And, okay, so we'll go back to MetaMask, and we want some Polygon in here. It's the same address, actually. All right. And there's like, do you want to withdraw Polygon or Ethereum? They both have the same address format. I want to withdraw Polygon, and I want to withdraw it on the Polygon network, which is its default. Debbie Campbell, thank you for that subscription. Let's just send it all. And there we go. So it can be a little tricky doing your little conversions, and trying to get the right token and the right network and all that stuff to get something out of the wallet that you're trying to get out. Like, see, now I have some Polygon in this wallet. So if I wanted to withdraw my Tether, I could. Just like Gregory wants to withdraw his Sand, which is in his Polygon-based wallet. So that's what you have to do. Before we go too far out, I did want to go over here and do this if I have time. Pooey. Let me go back here. I need to share my phone with you. Let me see if that'll work. Okay. Sorry I haven't been following the stream that much. Okay. Okay, we got that. Let's do this. Okay, good. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Now, this might not work because sometimes the Tangem app will not allow me to do screen sharing. Okay. Looks like this thing won't come into focus. All right, so I have a card set here. Now, let's just assume that I set this up with a 4-digit PIN. Now, you remember, Tangem was kind of like, oh, come on now, you're just testing a 4-digit PIN. Who uses 4-digit PINs? We allow users to use longer access codes with letters and symbols and numbers. Yeah, they do, but think of the average person. Are they going to use an 8-digit access code with numbers and symbols, or are they going to use 1, 2, 3, 4? Because it'll let you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it will. It has to be at least 4. So I think that's why Ledger was testing that. So if you chose 1, 2, 3, 4 as your access code, you need to beef up right now to prevent this hack, this exploit. Now remember, I mentioned that it's not a remote hack, right? So if you've got all your Tangem cards in your possession, then this hack won't work. But let's just assume you're worried that someone might steal your Tangem card at some point. Right? You have to think out these scenarios. If somebody you know knows that you have a lot of crypto on a Tangem card, then you have to be very cognizant of your physical security. Hey guys, I'm on Facebook and I'm in Paris, and your friends are like, hey, I think he probably has his backup cards at his house somewhere. So you have to think of every scenario. So even if they were to steal your Tangem card, if you had a strong access code, then you wouldn't have anything to worry about. So let's go into Tangem. Sorry, I got to get Face ID going here. All right, where are we here? Okay, we need to go over to this card set. This is kind of a test card set. And basically what we want to do is we want to go up to the top right over here, tap these 3 dots. And now we want to choose the wallet that we're dealing with, right? So we'll go to this wallet, and then we go to device settings, and now we need to scan the card first. So we scan the card to get into the card management settings. Is it going to let me do this? It might not let me do this because I'm sharing screen. Yeah, that's probably why. Let me get out of this and stop sharing the screen. Oh, I got to do it this way. Okay. So we'll stop mirroring. All right, and I will... All right. Okay, so I quit X Mirage. Now we're just going to have to rely on my phone here. All right, so if it would come into focus, that would be nice. Come on, baby. Focus, please. Oh, please. Okay, there we go. All right, so we go into device settings. We got to bring that card up. Got to do the Face ID. Well, the things I go through for you guys. Okay, there we go. Now we have access to the card settings, right? So we want access code. Oh, change access code. Boom. Face ID again. I'm already in the card. Sometimes it depends on your... Oh, because I use Face ID, right? when I use Face ID, I'm allowed to, I've set up Face ID on this card to get in, right? So I've basically bypassed the entering of the access code to gain access. But here is where I would enter a new access code. Let's just change it to something stupid like 3456. Of course, you would want something harder, right? But you understand what I'm getting at here. You can use numbers, letters, and you have to remember you don't want your access code to be so hard you forget it, and it makes it hard to enter it. And of course, you can enable fingerprint or Face ID to bypass that physical entrance of the access code. But for security purposes, you want a good access code, right? So we hit continue here. And then it wants me to scan the card again. And we're done. And now we've just updated the access code. Now, unfortunately, from what I can tell, I need to do it for the entire card set. So I'll hit scan card again, and now I need to get up the other card. Right? And then I need to go in there and change the access code for that one. What 2, 3, 4, 5? I think it is 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue. What was I on? The yellow one? I think I was on the yellow one. All right. And then we need to do it for the this one, the teal. All right. We need to get all three of these updated with our much better access code. Right, change access code. Do something complicated. Whoops. As you can see, it looks like you could have different access codes for each of the cards in your card set. So when you first set up the set, I believe it imprints the access code on all three cards automatically without you having to go to each card individually. Like when you first set up the access code, it's going to say, okay, bring up card number 2 and bring up card number 3, and imprints the access code on all three cards in one fell swoop during the initial setup. But when you're going in and you're adjusting or changing the access code, from what I can see, you have to do it per card, all three. And you have to be very careful because you could accidentally set one of the cards to the wrong access code if you're not paying attention. So you have to be very mindful here. Be very careful when doing this. But if you set your card to 8-digit or an 8-character passcode, then this ledger exploit or the ledger discovered exploit would fail, even if someone had stolen your cards. So it's an easy fix, right? There are a lot of issues surrounding this exploit. A lot of people might say, well, what's Ledger trying to do? Are they just trying to make Tangem look bad? No, they crack their own wallets and they crack other wallets. That's all they do all day. And as you noted in that article, they even were expecting to get a bug bounty for that. So it's in their best interest to find and report these exploits. And in fact, they reported the exploit to Tangem 90 days ago, right? They give them 90 days to address the issue. But in this case, because the Tangem cards are not updatable, the Tangem really couldn't do anything except explain that it's not a reasonable exploit. They don't even consider it an exploit. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't beef up your access code. If you're using a 4-digit PIN, you shouldn't be, right? So I just showed you how to update your access code on your Tangem card set. Easy peasy. Be proactive with your security. Let's see. Let's go back over here. Sorry, guys. I'm like over in the ether over there. Just trying to get through that demo. Sometimes I'm like trying to get through these demos with you guys. and I'm ignoring. Gregory Whelan just gave me €10 word. Thanks. Yeah, I think I addressed your issue. Yeah, please let me know your progress on that. But it's pretty simple. Yeah, and it's a $10 thing. You don't need like a whole bunch of Paul, in your wallet to do a transfer. $10 worth of Paul is probably more than enough to transfer your sand. But you might want to think about consolidating that sand onto one chain if you can. Like maybe moving it to Coinbase and then withdrawing it on the Ethereum network and putting it in with the rest of the sand you have in your Ethereum wallet. Just a thought. Or you could take what you have in the Ethereum wallet, throw it onto Coinbase and withdraw it on Polygon so that it's all consolidated. Might be something to think about. I was only notified it's not in my interest. Okay. Hi, CD. I have a new wallet that I'm paranoid about using, so I plan to first send a small amount to test if it's compromised, but I'm worried a hacker can see it's giving a larger amount. Well, I mean, even, I don't know how compromised the wallet. If you're that worried about the wallet, then you think it's compromised, then I would empty out the wallet and reset and start again. Vince, I really would. I mean, if you're that worried about it. But even if a hacker can see that you've moved crypto from a wallet with a larger amount, they can't touch it. Maybe they can see it. I think you're giving them a little too much credit. Like they may know the address, but they don't know where you are, most likely. I mean, there are ways to, blockchain analysis and, IP address scanning and all kinds of crazy stuff. Most hackers aren't like at that level. Maybe state actors might be at that level, like the NSA or, Korean hackers or whatever. I don't know. But most of them don't really know who you are, where you are. They might know your wallet balances, and they might see, okay, this did transfer from a bigger wallet somewhere else, but that doesn't give them access to the bigger wallet either. But if you think your wallet's been compromised, then move all the crypto out of it, do a full reset, or get a completely different. I don't know what kind of wallet you're talking about here. If it's a ledger or whatever it is, or if it's a hot wallet, empty out the wallet, wipe it, and then just start fresh. And, after you get a fresh wallet, maybe buy a hardware wallet like a Ledger or a Trezor or a Tangem. And then, with that fresh wallet, move that crypto you're so worried about, move it back into the clean wallet. Don't worry about that compromised wallet if you think it's compromised. I opened my cold card queue without really scrutinizing the anti-tampering seals on the package. I wasn't aware of them. I wouldn't worry about anti-tampering seals that much either. Most hardware wallets like Ledger and Trezor and Tangem and the Bitbox O2 Nova all have cryptographic verification. So the wallet passes a cryptographic verification when you first connect it, and it will tell you whether the wallet is genuine or not, and whether or not it's been tampered with. So anti-tampering packaging is just kind of there as like a blanket, a security blanket, like a little kid has a security blanket. He thinks it keeps him safe from the bad guys, but it's really just there to make you feel better. Any wallet that's been opened and tampered with is going to fail the cryptographic verification test. I think that's enough said about that. Vincent, I'm not familiar with that wallet, but I would send a small amount and then add a new wallet and start using the new one after sending a small amount. Yeah, you could do that as well. You can. Dan has good advice there. You can create new accounts. And the accounts are not connected to each other. So if you have a Bitcoin wallet that you feel is compromised, even without resetting the wallet, you could simply start a new account, right? But if you think that the seed phrase to the full wallet, the master private key is compromised, then I would reset the wallet and create a new master private key by doing a full reset. Doc Capital, thoughts on Bitcoin only hardware wallet versus universal hardware wallet? The firmware security should have one wallet, only BTC, and the other for alts, or is it fine to have them in one? Thank you, Doc Capital, for that question. I tend to look at Bitcoin only firmware and Bitcoin only wallets as security theater, in the same sense that people they tout that their wallet is air gapped. It's not any more or less secure. Now, there is an argument that simplicity, complexity is the enemy of security. I get that, but a lot of companies will say, "Oh, this is Bitcoin only, so it's more secure than a wallet that's multi-coin." But I think that's, there might be a grain of truth to that, but in general, it's more security theater than anything else. And it's not very practical. I mean, if all you want to hold is Bitcoin, great. But, I have a ledger and it supports Bitcoin, and it also supports a lot of other coins. I mean, if you don't want to put any other apps on there than Bitcoin, I wouldn't say that it's less secure. Ledger doesn't have a Bitcoin only firmware, because I've heard them tell me this, that they feel that Bitcoin only firmware is just security theater. That, it's not, just the idea does not, a Bitcoin only firmware is just not more secure by its nature, just because it's a little more simple. That's just my thought. If, you're worried, and, the answer to your question, in my opinion, is that it's fine to hold your Bitcoin and your altcoins in one secure wallet. Whatever wallet you choose, whether it's a Trezor, a Ledger, a Bitbox, a Tangem, or whatever. I don't think Tangem has Bitcoin only firmware either, as far as I know. I wonder what Satoshi Nakamoto would think about all that's going on in the space now. Here we are, after Bitcoin. When I first got into crypto, there weren't that many major cryptos out there. I think I should have bought Litecoin when I had the chance, when I first encountered it. But there was Bitcoin, Litecoin. Ethereum didn't even show up till around 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And, here we are 10 years later. We had hundreds of tokens. Now we have millions of tokens out there. We have all these level one cryptos now, and we have different use cases. We have real world assets. We've got, I just can't, list them off the top of my head, but the crypto sphere has definitely evolved past Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still the granddaddy, still like a pure currency in my view. It should be treated as a currency regulatory wise and not a commodity, especially not a security. Holding Bitcoin should be treated as like, hey, I bought some, Japanese yen. Why should I get capital gains tax on purchasing a bunch of yen, or going and transferring my transferring my dollars to yen? I mean, the money changer is going to charge me a little, fee on his end, but why should I get taxed for it? So that's what I feel. Bitcoin to dollar should not be taxable event, because it's currency. But other cryptos are, more advanced and, can be considered securities. A lot of times it's a project of some kind, and they have their own native currency, but buying that currency is like investing in the company. So in that sense, it is more of a security. Whereas there are other, utilitarian coins that do different things, like Ethereum and Solana, that I wouldn't consider them securities, but maybe commodities. I don't know. It's complicated, right? I don't know. I wish they were all treated as currencies. Any news on the JavaScript hack? I would assume that the JavaScript hack is old news. It was never really a threat to anyone that has a hardware wallet, because you can just verify your transaction on your device and don't get tricked. Have a device that's running the latest security stuff like clear signing and transaction check, and you're not going to sign malicious transactions if you're careful. This was a crypto exploit in JavaScript libraries. I'm sure it has been patched by now. I don't know for sure, but it was just a big, and this is another reason why I don't like to talk that. I mean, I got a lot of views on this video. That's great, but people just freak out over stuff like this, and they don't understand it, and they hear they read an article or they hear in the news, oh my God, there's been a hack to the JavaScript libraries, and like, oh my God, the world is ending. I've got to, change all my crypto to dollars now. It's not safe anymore. It's like, dude, it's just a software hack. They happen every day. It was unfortunate, and it did permeate a lot of libraries, but the solution was update all of your libraries, with the latest version. Another one too. There was a Chrome hack, right? Google warns billions of Chrome users. Well, you know what the solution was? Update your browser to the latest version. Problem solved, right? So, I wouldn't worry so much about this NPM hack. It was kind of a nothing burger. But, people freak out. So I posted a video. Got a lot of views. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a media, whatever you want to say, media monger, whatever you want to call it. We all got to eat, right? But I mean, my video, even though the thumbnail looks alarming, I basically explain in clear terms that it's not that big of a deal. There are a lot of other, YouTubers out there and, editors and journalists or whatever that make a big deal about it because they want to get clicks. But I'm sure this thing has been solved. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up tonight. I went a little bit over because I wanted to get that Tangem thing in. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate your donation there, Gregory and Dusted in Shadow. Thank you, Dan, for being here and moderating. I can see you were pretty busy answering questions while I was rambling on and on, so I appreciate that. If I did not get to your question and you're, if you have a burning desire, it's like we're a 12-step meeting. Are there any burning desires? Yeah, if you've got a burning desire and you didn't get your question answered, shoot me an email. I'm at thecryptodad@gmail.com. It's down here in the bottom of the description. It's really easy. Shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you address your concern, answer your question, whatever the case may be. So please, if I didn't get your question answered in the live stream, shoot me a quick email. I'd be happy to answer your question in email. Let's see here. Thank you, Kenny, for the news, as usual. Thank you, everyone that asked questions. Hopefully Dan or I got them answered. Thank you, Dan, for moderating, as always. Let's see. We got this thing going here. Yeah, it's looking good. Don't forget, I will be here again, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me again for the live stream for Michigan, where you can throw out questions, and I'll do my best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again,